What is up, YouTube? It's been a while since we've been back here and did one of these, hasn't it? Last time I made one of these talking head videos was when the announcement for Anixia happened. But yeah, I'm back at it again with another announcement from a server that I've actually been looking forward to because it fills that void of what I was looking for from Warmane. And that's Whitemane's new server, Frostmourne, which we're going to cover today on the roadmap and everything like that. But if you played on Warmane's Frostmourne server, you're going to be very confused because it's the same name. And the timeline is also very similar, which we're going to touch on that and all the changes and everything like that they're doing. Some great, some typical Whitemane changes that we'll cover. But before we get into that, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this about WoW and other MMOs that I cover. And let's get into it. All right, so the changes we know we're getting so far. We know that it is going to be a fresh seasonal server, which means this server will probably reset, and these characters will more than likely either roll into one of the Kata servers or a permanent Wrath of the Lich King server. We'll see what happens there. We are getting time walking raids, which was to be expected if they are going to stick with that Warmane formula that they're borrowing so heavily from. The new race and class combinations, it's a sick idea and I like it. I like that customization. Completely new legendaries. I like that because that'll shake up the meta in the end game. But as you'll see going forward, they're not completely new legendaries. The itemization on certain legendaries has been changed and added to level 80, but there is one new one so far. The increased experience and honor rates, pretty standard for a seasonal private server. Transmogrification and appearance collections, I love it. I love the ability to transmog. I like it on any server that has it. It's a great feature and it adds the ability to add, more things to do like collectibles and stuff like that. Hard code mode, I don't really care too much for this. I think it's very gimmicky and I'm not a big fan of hardcore. New 10-man difficulty for bigger challenge, Ascended. I love this. I love the addition of making 10-man content more viable. I love the idea of 10-man rating. That's why I like Final Fantasy so much, because of the 8-man content. I really, really like this change, and I hope that it is indeed more challenging. Slight balance changing, varying between seasons. So we know that there's going to be multiple seasons going forward, and that they will definitely be changing different things up, maybe different time walking events, mythic dungeons, things like that, more race class combinations to come, different legendaries. We'll see. And like I said earlier, the server definitely launches on May 31st. It was already pushed back once because of quality control, which I like that idea. And I like the fact that they went back and just didn't launch in a broken state. So let's go over these points here and see what is different. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the timeline that they gave us. So we know the server already, we already have a launch date, is going to be May 31st, and that's going to be launched with Tier 7 and Season 5 of PvP later on. And this may come to you as a surprise, but it almost seems like they are basically copy and pasting the timeline from Warmane itself, because we have Ulduar right around the same time. If we can find the timeline from a couple seasons ago, right around the same time that Ulduar would launch for Warmane. And same with Trial of the Crusader. So it seems that they're keeping true to the timeline. And if that's the case, then sometime around February, we'll probably see Ice Crown. And that'll be probably a tiered launch as well, just like that. But it doesn't seem like they have announced any other like specific feature releases within this. And we don't know if we know they're doing time walking raids, but we don't know when they're going to be releasing the time walking raids and what time walking raids they're going to be releasing. For all we know, they also could be releasing multiples and just make the time walking raids seasonal, or not seasonal, rotational. But yeah, it seems like they just took a concept that already existed and just took it and ran with it, because they noticed that the community just was not happy with Warmane's decision to not have it, which honestly, more power to them. I'm not a, I normally I wouldn't give them credit for just straight up ripping off an idea, but if the community was asking for it and there was a hole in the market, go for it. Probably would have used a different name, but still, the name resonates with people, and I think that's a good idea. It was a good idea to do it on their part as a marketing strategy. So moving away from the timeline, one of the feature changes that we got was class combinations for the different factions. We have paladins as undead and shamans as dwarves, which is great because that means you can be an alliance player and play a shaman and not have to be a sexy space goat or a sexy elf as a paladin for the horde. I think it's great. I haven't had a chance too much to dabble into the changes that undead paladins have and that dwarf shamans have. Hopefully there are some changes. Hopefully it's they get a little bit of different racial abilities and stuff like that. But we'll see. Other than that, I don't think there's too many drastic changes. From what I would like to see eventually would probably be Human Hunter, which would be good, and maybe another mage class for the horde, probably like orc mage, which would be kind of cool. But we'll see what they bring in the future from that aspect of it. Okay, so let's touch on the Legos that we got so far. First we have Gorehowl, which it's not the same version of Gorehowl from Karazhan. It might very well drop from a time walking version of Karazhan. It's a eye level 232 axe. So I think it's on par with Betrayer of Humanity. So it might be a tier 7 item. So it has a significant top end, has a very, very slow weapon, 130 or 233 DPS, 131 strength, 139 stamina, 2 sockets. So here's the interesting one. It definitely itemization wise is more geared towards warrior. It can benefit a paladin, but I would actually prioritize this over to a warrior. The increased crit, good for fury warriors, good for ret paladins, but here's the part that makes it more better for a warrior is going to be the 64 armor penetration. So it's very good in that aspect. It also grants an extra hit on your next swing, which good for warriors because basically they can combo this with Heroic Strike, which is very good. The next legendary that we got will be Thoradal, the Star's Fury, which again, this one probably is going to come from the Sunwell raid. It is definitely going to be from that time walking event. The stat changes on it are pretty interesting. It has had its 59 armor replaced with 35 stamina. Good change. More survivability for rogues and hunters and warriors too if they get a Thoradal, which I project seeing a lot of people with it just because of the way the metagaming is now. 39 agility, pretty good increase there. The crit rating has been increased from 16 to 26, which is good. Attack power increased from 34 to 54, good. This definitely seems more like a tier 7 item just based on the itemization changes to it. So it probably will be a tier 7 time walking event. So the next one, armor pen rating 21. That is huge. That is a huge armor pen rating. So just so you're aware, 1% of armor pen rating is about 13.99 ignored armor. So that's about almost 300 armor pen right there, which is very good. The haste given to it from, just the fact that you don't need a quiver for it because it generates arrows has been removed. Weird change. I would have probably left that in there for hunters, but maybe there's some reasoning behind it. It seems a little bit overpowered already with that extra 300 armor pen on it. The other legendary that we got is Doomhammer. This one is definitely going to be an enhancement shaman weapon and only enhancement shaman because it's only usable by shamans. It has 58 stamina, 58 intellect, and a yellow gem socket. So it's an eye level 245. So this will definitely be releasing with Ulduar, I believe. In my opinion, it's probably going to be around there because it's also about the same item level as Valinir. Its itemization is very interesting. It has 58 haste rating on it, 39 crit, 621 spell power, and a chance on hit ability shakes the ground with Thundering Force, doing 459 to 646 nature damage to all enemies within 8 yards. Huge for an enhancement shaman AoE, which was lacking a little bit there. So it's going to help out with that. The legendary is very cool. I really hope that at some point we get a tanking legendary, maybe an upgraded Thunder Fury, but we'll see what comes with that. But yeah, it's very promising with these changes. I like the addition of Legos to the end game. Last thing we're going to touch on is monetization, which I'm not a big fan of anymore on this server just because of the direction it went in after the Maelstrom video, which we're not going to talk too much about the donations, like brackets and stuff like that, because we did that in Maelstrom. So The newest thing they added was Whitemane Plus Plan, which we can see what that covers here. And we're going to go over here. So Transmogrification Plus. So now you don't have to keep the items in your inventory. It adds it to your appearance collection. That's something that could have been done for free. I don't appreciate that change. It's a very dumb change. It's a very dumb thing to have to pay for. Teleports. You can now right-click your Hearthstone to teleport to capital cities. Again, not really a convenient change to pay for. Like healthy resurrection, like this, having to resurrect the spirit healer. That's kind of why? Like, why would you care about that? Like, why would you want to add that as a feature? Like, a lot of these things, like indestructible armor, instant flight, like these are all just things that, like, they're minor inconveniences. Like, why would you want to pay an additional service for these things that are just minor inconveniences? Like, the only one I could see is unlimited racial shifts, which if we come over here and we go to store, character services, you can pay for that. Racial shift repick, you can pay for that as well. But now you can pay to have an unlimited one, which before it was unlimited to pay for, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Someone might have to correct me. I'll admit if I'm wrong. And then you also have the ability to pay for all these other items that are just minor inconveniences, which I'm sure will come into Frostmourne. What I really hope that Frostmourne doesn't have is the Arsenal, which, if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure they will add it because people always want to have a pay-to-win option where they can buy items. I'm not a huge fan of that. And then the black market where you can buy characters. The only one I would have been okay with was the transmog shop, being able to buy exclusive transmog items that were, either down reses or stuff like this, like just collections like that. That would have been fine. But instead, we have all these other monetization items that kind of just ruin what would have been an all-around great server. Which, whatever. I'm just not going to cry too much about it. There's nothing I can do. All I can do is play on the server and just kind of deal with it. But yeah, just really poor choices, in my opinion. Covers all the talking points I had for the Frostmourne server. And if you guys made it this far, thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment down below if you're going to be checking out Frostmourne, or if you have any ideas that I should check out, or any servers I should do a review on, or just definitely look into. Thank you guys for watching. Check me out on twitch.tv/NixXG, where we stream twice a week. We'll do raids with the community and stuff like that on Frostmourne when it launches and things like that. Other than that, till next time, guys, peace out.